Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Let me begin with a simple question. Have you ever felt stuck in a conversation? Maybe it was a meeting that seemed to drag on longer than necessary, or perhaps a discussion with someone where it felt like neither of you could truly understand each other's point of view. This probably sounds familiar to many of us, doesn't it? Have you ever thought that the conversation could be finished quicker and more effectively? This is the critical question I want us to reflect on throughout today's talk. Our goal is not just to communicate, but to communicate effectively so we can connect more deeply, reach our goals faster, and truly understand each other in every conversation. I understand that in today's fast-paced world with so many pressures and competition, we often feel the need to communicate faster, more concisely. But sometimes this approach leads us to misunderstandings, a lack of empathy, and diminishes genuine connection. Effective communication isn't just about exchanging information, it's about sharing information intelligently, emotionally, and deeply. So what exactly is an effective communication? It's not about how much or how little we say, but about delivering a message clearly, understandably, and in a way that creates a connection with the person we are speaking to. This requires not only strong speaking skills, but also the ability to listen, read body language, and grasp the emotions of others. In today's talk, we'll explore the art of effective communication and how we can use it to improve our personal relationships, enhance workplace performance, and build trust and respect with those around us. When we consider the importance of communication, the first thing to recognize is that communication plays a vital role in every aspect of our lives. Whether it's at work, in education, or in our personal relationships, communication is essential for understanding and connecting with one another. Did you know that 75% of our day is spent communicating? Communication isn't just about exchanging information, it's about building and maintaining relationships, establishing trust, and growing together. Let's imagine a scenario. You're standing before an important opportunity, and you need to persuade a partner or colleague. If you're unable to clearly and convincingly communicate your message, that opportunity might slip away. But if you can use your words, tone, and body language effectively, not only will you convey your message, but you'll also create trust and a deeper connection with your listener. Have you ever left a meeting or a conversation feeling confused or unsatisfied because things didn't go as planned? Have you ever felt like what you wanted to express wasn't fully understood by the other person, or perhaps you couldn't grasp what they were trying to say? Effective communication isn't an instinct, it's a skill that can be learned and developed. To become an excellent communicator, you need more than just an understanding of language. You need to deeply understand the psychology of your listener, know how to manage emotions, and create empathy in every conversation. So, how can we communicate more effectively? Let's dive into the main part of this talk, where we'll uncover the key elements of mastering the art of effective communication, from how we use words, tone, and body language, to the importance of listening and responding thoughtfully. We often hear that communication is one of the most crucial skills for success in all areas of life. But why is that? Simply put, communication is the bridge that connects us with one another, allowing us to express our thoughts, feelings, and needs. And beyond that, effective communication is what enables us not just to connect, but to deeply understand each other. Imagine a typical workday. You start the day with a series of conversations, discussing work with colleagues, negotiating with clients, and talking with family and friends. It's no exaggeration to say that communication takes up about 75% of our day, and if you're unable to communicate effectively, everything becomes much more difficult. But effective communication isn't just limited to speaking with others. There's another form of communication we often overlook: inner communication, the dialogue we have with ourselves. When we plan, set goals, or simply reflect on a decision, we are engaging in self-communication. This internal dialogue shapes how we navigate life and choose our direction. Our internal communication not only helps you plan better, but also regulates your emotions, keeping you grounded when facing challenges. Of course, an equally important part of communication is how we interact with those around us. Whether it's with coworkers, friends, or family, your ability to communicate effectively directly impacts your relationships. It's the key to success both in your professional and personal life. When you can clearly articulate your thoughts, listen to others, and empathize with them, you build genuine connections and lasting, meaningful relationships. No one succeeds alone. Those who achieve great things are often excellent communicators, able to express their views clearly while also listening to and understanding the perspectives of others. A successful conversation isn't just about what you say, it's about how you create space for others to share their ideas as well. In life, when communication is ineffective, we easily fall into misunderstandings, lose trust, and may even damage important relationships. On the flip side, mastering communication opens up greater opportunities at work, strengthens personal relationships, and even boosts your own self-confidence. Effective communication not only leads to success in your career, but it is also the key to building a happier, more meaningful life. But to communicate effectively, we need to understand what makes a conversation truly successful. And that's exactly what I want us to explore together in the next parts of this talk. When we talk about communication, we often think immediately of words. However, words are just a small part of the process of conveying a message. Effective communication is not just about what we say, but how we say it and how we express ourselves through body language. To better understand this process, let's explore the three key components of communication: words, tone of voice, and body language. Words, 7%. The first thing that usually comes to mind when we communicate is the use of words. But in reality, words only make up about 7% of the overall communication. Even though this percentage seems small, the choice of words still plays an important role in expressing ideas and thoughts. When using language, it's essential to be clear, concise, and contextually appropriate. Keep in mind that listeners don't just remember what you say, they also remember how you say it. This means that words are only part of the message. The emotion your words evoke often carries even more weight. For instance, if you're trying to persuade someone of a viewpoint, but your choice of words lacks confidence or clarity, the listener may miss the main point you're trying to convey. Tone of voice, 38%. In communication, tone of voice accounts for 38% of how a message is received. You can say the exact same sentence, but the way you use your tone will completely change how the message is perceived. A warm, slow, and friendly tone can create feelings of trust and comfort. On the other hand, if your tone is harsh, rushed, or tense, it can make the listener feel anxious or pressured, even if that's not your intention. Imagine saying a simple sentence like, "I think this is a great idea." If you use a confident tone, it can increase the likelihood of the listener agreeing with you. However, if you deliver the same sentence with hesitation or uncertainty, the message the listener receives will be entirely different. Tone of voice is how we convey emotions and connect with others on an emotional level. One of the most important aspects of communication is knowing how to adjust your tone to suit the situation. When speaking to someone, remember that your tone should align with the message. A harsh or emotionless tone can make your message fall flat or be misunderstood. Let your tone convey confidence, but also warmth and friendliness. Body language, 55%. Finally, body language constitutes a significant 55% of communication. This nonverbal aspect includes gestures, facial expressions, posture, eye contact, and even the physical distance between you and the person you're speaking to. When your words and tone don't match your body language, listeners are more likely to trust the signals from your body. For instance, if you're speaking with someone but fail to maintain eye contact or turn your body away, this can make the other person feel like you're not interested in the conversation, even if your words are positive. Facing the person, maintaining eye contact, and nodding to show attentiveness are ways to signal that you are fully engaged in the conversation and value their input. Another critical element of body language is posture. A relaxed yet confident stance can leave a positive impression on others. Even small gestures, like leaning in slightly while listening, can show the other person that you are engaged in the conversation. Body language must be in sync with your words and tone. Otherwise, the listener may sense a disconnect and struggle to trust your message. Additionally, gestures with your hands and facial expressions play a significant role. Open hand gestures and a light smile during conversation can create a sense of warmth and openness. On the contrary, crossing your arms or frowning might convey a feeling of distance and reluctance. Strong and clear body language not only enhances how effectively you convey a message, but also boosts your own confidence in the conversation. When you align your words, tone, and body language, you achieve harmony in communication, making it easier to persuade, build trust, and connect with your audience. I'd like to start by asking you this. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation that just didn't seem to go anywhere? Maybe it was a meeting you felt could have been shorter, or a discussion where it seemed neither side could fully understand the other. I think many of us have been in these situations, right? Now let me pose another question. Have you ever thought that the conversation could have been completed more efficiently and with better results? This is the key question I want us to reflect on throughout today's talk. Our goal isn't just to communicate, but to communicate effectively so we can connect more deeply, achieve our objectives faster, and truly understand one another in every conversation. In any effective conversation, there are three crucial elements that we cannot overlook. To communicate deeply and genuinely connect with your audience, you need to understand that every conversation consists of three main parts: ethos, personal credibility; pathos, emotional connection; and logos, logic. These are the factors that will help you create a successful interaction, from making a strong first impression to persuading and leaving a lasting impact on your listener. Personal credibility, ethos. Let's begin with personal credibility, ethos. Have you ever noticed that the people you trust the most are often those you feel are credible, honest, and reliable? Personal credibility is a fundamental part of communication. Not every conversation starts with trust, but when you demonstrate honesty, deep knowledge, and professionalism, you will find it easier to persuade those you are speaking with. Sometimes those with strong credibility don't need to say much because their confidence and expertise naturally earn the trust of others. For instance, when a trustworthy person gives you advice, even if it's brief, you're more inclined to listen and believe in it. Their character and credibility create an impact so powerful that they don't need many words to convince you. Emotional connection, pathos. Next, let's consider the element of emotional connection, pathos. Would you agree that communication is not just an exchange of information, but also an exchange of emotions? When you can connect emotionally with the person you're speaking to, the conversation becomes much deeper and more meaningful. This means that you're not only delivering content, but also understanding the emotions of the other person, adjusting your tone and approach accordingly. Conversations become much smoother when you can empathize with the other person's feelings. Emotions are the key to opening the door to empathy, which forms the foundation of a strong relationship. Imagine you're talking to someone who is going through a tough time. If you only focus on logic and ignore their emotions, the conversation might not lead to the desired outcome. Emotional connection allows you to not only persuade with reason, but also understand and share in someone else's experience, creating a deeper relationship. Logic, logos. Finally, we can't forget logos, the element of logic. Logic is what enables you to present arguments and factual information to persuade your audience. While personal credibility and emotions are essential, without logic, your conversation may lack coherence and persuasiveness. Facts, data, and logic are the foundation for meaningful and trustworthy exchanges. However, the key is to present logic only after you've established an emotional connection. When your audience already trusts you and feels that you understand them, that's when logic becomes a powerful tool to solidify your point. Once emotions align, reason becomes an effective way to strengthen your argument and achieve your communication goals. Think about a negotiation, for instance. You need to begin by building personal rapport, then understanding the emotions and needs of the other party before introducing your logical points. This approach ensures that not only do you present your case clearly, but the other person feels respected and heard. A balanced approach. Personal credibility, emotional connection, and logic are the three pillars of any effective conversation. When you harmonize these three elements, you'll not only communicate successfully, but also build trust, persuade others, and leave a lasting impression. This will not only help you achieve your objectives in every exchange, but also foster lasting relationships in both your professional and personal life. So as we continue, remember these three key elements, and let's explore how to integrate them seamlessly into our communication practices to build deeper connections and lasting success. Each of us has a unique way of communicating, and this not only reflects our personality, but also greatly influences how we connect with others. Understanding both your own communication style and that of others allows you to adjust your approach in any situation, making your interactions more effective. In this segment, I will introduce 4 main communication styles that we commonly encounter in everyday life. First, let's explore the relator style, which is typical of those who are more outwardly focused and relationship-oriented. People with this communication style are highly attuned to the emotions of others and value harmony in their relationships. They are sensitive to the moods of those around them and often strive to create a positive atmosphere during conversations. These individuals tend to be social, ready to listen, share, and particularly excel in roles that involve caring for others. So, how can you communicate effectively with a relator? The key is to listen sincerely, show empathy, and give them space to express their emotions. When you respect their feelings and perspectives, the conversation flows more smoothly, and you build trust with them. Next, let's talk about the analyzer style. These individuals are detail-oriented and value precision. They prefer to think things through carefully before making decisions and expect clear, specific information in every interaction. People with this communication style excel in roles that involve data, technical fields, or tasks where accuracy is crucial. When engaging with an analyzer, it's important to present information logically, clearly, and with evidence. Avoid emotional or vague statements and instead support your points with data or concrete examples. Analyzers appreciate well-prepared and accurate presentations of information. Now let's turn to the director style. Directors are result-driven individuals who focus on action and performance. They often have strong leadership qualities, are decisive, and prefer to get straight to the point. For people with this style, time is money, and they are always looking for quick and efficient solutions. When working with a director, you need to be concise, direct, and to the point. Avoid beating around the bush and focus on results and solutions. Show them that you value efficiency and are ready to act to achieve goals. Directors appreciate self-reliant individuals who can complete tasks without needing too much supervision. Finally, let's look at the expressive style. Expressive individuals are versatile and balance maintaining relationships with getting things done. They tend to be creative, optimistic, and easily build rapport with others. Expressives enjoy diversity, don't shy away from change, and are often the ones to inspire and connect ideas with reality. To communicate effectively with an expressive, bring openness, flexibility, and perhaps even a touch of creativity to the conversation. They enjoy discussions that flow naturally and may occasionally stray from the main topic. But don't worry, this flexibility is part of their strength. When you allow them to express their opinions and brainstorm new ideas, the conversation will be more dynamic and valuable. Understanding these 4 communication styles not only helps you adjust your interactions with different people, but also allows you to recognize your own style. This awareness is incredibly beneficial for building strong relationships and reaching mutual understanding in both work and personal life. Once you recognize that everyone has a different approach to communication, you'll find it easier to appreciate and respect these differences, which will elevate your communication skills to a new level. An effective conversation is not one where one person speaks and the other merely listens. In fact, to achieve truly deep and meaningful communication, there must be a balance between speaking and listening from both sides. Balanced dialogue occurs when everyone involved has the opportunity to express their views, while also being willing to listen and respect the opinions of others. When we engage in a conversation, there are moments when silence is more valuable than words. Silence doesn't just ease the tension in a discussion, but it also creates space for the other person to think and articulate their thoughts more clearly. About 10–15% of the conversation should ideally be spent in comfortable silence, giving both sides time to reflect, respond thoughtfully, and not feel pressured to constantly fill the air with words. Have you ever noticed that the best conversations are often those where both parties feel heard and understood? That's the result of balance in communication. When you share your opinion, it's essential to leave room for the other person to express theirs as well. In doing so, the conversation becomes far more meaningful and valuable. Take a simple example. When discussing an important topic with a colleague or partner, if you continuously talk without allowing the other person to respond, they might feel that their input isn't valued. This can lead to frustration and lack of agreement. True dialogue happens when both sides feel they are contributing to the conversation, not when one is dominating as the sole speaker. Furthermore, a balanced conversation helps minimize misunderstandings. When you create space for the other person to respond, you can pick up on any disagreements or differing views, allowing you to adjust the discussion in a more positive direction. Listening and responding in a balanced way not only helps maintain harmony, but also builds trust and mutual respect. This is especially important in tense or sensitive conversations. With balanced dialogue, everyone feels that they have had a chance to express themselves, making the conversation more calm and comfortable. Remember, not every conversation requires winning an argument. Sometimes empathy and listening are the keys to achieving the best outcome. To achieve balanced dialogue, always remember that communication is a two-way street. When you create space for the other person to speak, you're not only showing respect, but you're also helping yourself to better understand their perspective. This allows you to provide more thoughtful, valuable, and relevant feedback. A balanced conversation is not just an exchange of ideas, it's a genuine connection between the people involved. In a conversation, we can't always immediately understand everything the other person is trying to convey. Asking questions not only helps us gain clarity on the message being communicated, but it also serves as a powerful tool to extend and deepen the conversation. When you ask questions the right way, you uncover more information and build a more meaningful dialogue. Open-ended questions are one of the most effective methods to encourage others to express their thoughts more deeply. Instead of simply asking, "Do you agree with that?" Try asking, "Can you explain your perspective further?" Or, "What are your thoughts on this?" These types of questions open the door for the other person to share more details, making the conversation richer and more insightful. When you ask open-ended questions, the other person will find it hard to give a short, dismissive answer because the question doesn't demand a yes or no response. Open-ended questions invite interaction and make the person feel more comfortable sharing their opinions. This also helps foster a more constructive conversation because you're not just listening, you're actively exploring what the other person truly wants to communicate. Moreover, asking the right questions allows you to guide the conversation in the direction you want, especially when dealing with difficult or sensitive situations. In moments of confusion, instead of jumping to conclusions or making assumptions, ask clarifying questions. For instance, if a point of view seems unclear, you could ask, "What does this mean for you?" Or, "How can we better understand your perspective?" This approach helps avoid misunderstandings and provides a more complete view of the situation. Asking questions is also a way to show care and respect. When you take the initiative to ask someone questions, they feel that you are truly listening and that you value what they are sharing. This encourages cooperation and openness in the conversation, creating an environment of trust and comfort. Remember, the ability to ask smart questions not only helps clarify information, but also enhances communication in any situation. This skill boosts your listening ability and helps you achieve deeper understanding in every conversation. In communication, one incredibly important yet often overlooked factor is the act of acceptance and agreement. Sometimes we focus so much on presenting our opinions and expressing our viewpoints that we forget that agreement and acceptance are the foundation for building meaningful connections. By showing agreement, even at the smallest level, you create a safe space for communication where the other person feels respected and understood. When you express agreement with someone, it doesn't mean you have to fully agree with everything they say. Instead, it's about accepting and respecting their perspective. This creates openness in the conversation, allowing both sides to discuss freely without feeling antagonized. For example, when you're listening to a viewpoint that you may not fully agree with, instead of immediately opposing it, try saying something like, "I understand what you're saying, and I think it's worth considering." This not only maintains harmony in the conversation, but also shows that you're willing to listen and think openly. Agreeing and accepting are not limited to just words. Sometimes body language plays a significant role in showing your acceptance of someone else's views. A nod, a smile, maintaining friendly eye contact. These are small gestures, but have a big impact in signaling to the speaker that you are paying attention and not aggressively opposing them. These subtle cues help the speaker feel more comfortable and free to express their thoughts more fully. An effective conversation is not always about debating who is right or wrong. It's about sharing and empathizing. When you show that you accept someone else's opinion, the conversation shifts from confrontation to collaboration. This creates an atmosphere of agreement and allows for constructive problem solving rather than turning the conversation into a tense standoff. Additionally, agreeing doesn't mean abandoning your own viewpoint. You can maintain your own perspective while being open to receiving the other person's ideas and incorporating them into the conversation. By aiming for cooperation rather than confrontation, you'll find it easier to reach mutual understanding. Instead of battling, focus on collaboration, where both parties feel heard and respected. Acceptance and agreement are the keys to successful communication, especially in sensitive situations or when resolving conflicts. By showing respect and acceptance of the other person's views, you create a positive and safe environment for the conversation, helping both sides move toward a shared agreement more easily. However, not everyone truly knows how to listen. It's not just about hearing sounds or understanding the words someone says. It's about active listening, where you genuinely care and respond based on what you've received. Active listening is a crucial skill for creating deep connections in any conversation. When you listen actively, you're not just hearing with your ears, but also with your heart and full attention. This allows you to grasp the other person's message more clearly, not just from their words, but from their tone, expressions, and body language. To actively listen, you must be fully present in the conversation, avoiding distractions from other thoughts or tasks. Imagine, for instance, when you're speaking with someone and they're not truly listening. They may be looking at their phone, their eyes wandering, or they're only nodding absent-mindedly. That surely makes you feel disrespected and likely less inclined to share further. This is why active listening is so important. When you truly listen, you add value to the other person, making them feel respected and understood. One of the key aspects of active listening is avoiding interruptions. When you interrupt or offer opinions too early, not only do you break the speaker's train of thought, but you also make them feel unimportant. Interruptions are one of the fastest ways to make someone feel that their opinion doesn't matter. This doesn't just reduce the effectiveness of communication, it can also harm the relationship between the two of you. When you listen, pay close attention to the words the other person is using. Don't just listen to react, listen to better understand their viewpoint and emotions. Listening isn't about waiting for your turn to speak, but focusing on absorbing the message the other person is trying to convey. Once you fully understand their message, it becomes easier to respond thoughtfully and appropriately. Furthermore, your body language also conveys that you are listening. Eye contact, facial expressions, and gestures all send the message that you are fully engaged. When you make eye contact, nod when appropriate, and maintain open body language, you encourage the speaker to continue sharing and feel more confident in their message. On the other hand, a distracted or disengaged posture will make them feel like you're not genuinely interested in what they have to say. Active listening not only helps you build stronger connections with the person you're communicating with, but it also helps avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. When you listen clearly and deeply, you'll be able to respond more accurately and foster a positive, sincere communication environment. This is especially critical in important conversations where every piece of information needs to be understood correctly and clearly. A simple yet effective tip for practicing active listening is to pause before responding. After the other person has finished speaking, take a few seconds to reflect on what they've said before you reply. This pause not only helps you process the information, but also signals to the other person that you're genuinely considering their words. It also makes the conversation more thoughtful and meaningful, avoiding hasty reactions. Active listening is a skill that requires regular practice. When you learn to truly listen, you will discover more in your conversations, build better relationships with those around you, and elevate your communication skills to new heights. Ultimately, listening is the strongest bridge in any communication, helping us to understand each other better and form deeper connections. When we engage in a conversation, sometimes we misunderstand or misinterpret the other person's message without even realizing it. This is why paraphrasing what the other person says is an extremely useful communication technique. Paraphrasing not only helps check whether you've understood the message correctly, but also makes the other person feel deeply heard and genuinely understood. When you paraphrase what someone else has said using your own words, you create an opportunity for both parties to clarify or correct any misunderstandings if needed. This is particularly helpful in complex or sensitive situations, or when information is being communicated too quickly. For example, if your colleague just presented a new proposal, you might say, "I hear you suggesting that we should focus on improving internal processes before rolling out the project. Is that correct?" By doing this, you open the door for the other person to confirm or add additional details if necessary. Paraphrasing not only helps you gain a clearer understanding of the message, but it also signals to the speaker that you are truly paying attention and care about what they are saying. This helps build trust and fosters an open, respectful space for communication. When you reflect back through paraphrasing, you also demonstrate that the other person's feelings and perspectives are important to you. Additionally, paraphrasing helps clarify points you might be unsure about. In sensitive situations or when there's disagreement, paraphrasing allows both sides to better understand each other's stance and perspective, helping to resolve issues in a constructive way. For example, if there's a misunderstanding about a decision, you can paraphrase to check whether both sides are on the same page. Remember, when paraphrasing someone else's words, respect and sincerity are key. It's not just about repeating information, it's about adding your own touch, showing that you care, and creating space for the other person to adjust or add more if needed. This not only enhances the effectiveness of communication, but also fosters a stronger, more trustworthy relationship. By paraphrasing the other person's message, you help reduce unnecessary misunderstandings and ensure that both sides are interpreting the issue correctly. This is a vital skill in any conversation, from everyday discussions to important meetings. Paraphrasing gives both you and the other person the chance to gain a clearer understanding and communicate more accurately and authentically. We often have the tendency to respond immediately after the other person finishes speaking. However, this isn't always the best approach, as replying too quickly can lead to missing important details or offering a response that hasn't been fully thought through. This is why pausing before replying is an incredibly valuable communication technique. Taking a short pause not only gives you time to reflect, but it also conveys that you are truly considering what was just said. This sends a strong message to the other person that you are paying attention and are not rushing to respond. For instance, when a colleague presents a new idea, instead of immediately jumping in with your opinion, you can take a moment, gather your thoughts, and then offer a response. This shows that you care about what they have to say and are willing to take the time to provide a thoughtful answer. A brief pause also helps to avoid unnecessary interruptions. When there is a natural pause in the conversation, it gives you a chance to reflect and gain a deeper understanding of the other person's message without the need to respond hastily. This creates a more thoughtful and meaningful dialogue, especially when discussing complex or important topics. The pause gives you time to carefully analyze the message and respond more accurately. In addition, a temporary silence can ease tension in a conversation. If the discussion becomes heated or your emotions start to rise, pausing before replying allows you to calm down and think more objectively. This helps you manage your emotions and prevents negative feelings from affecting your words. In tense situations, a brief pause not only allows you to adjust your emotions, but also demonstrates to the other person that you are listening with understanding and respect. Remember, pausing doesn't indicate a lack of enthusiasm or that you're unsure of what to say. On the contrary, it's a way to show that you are thoughtfully considering the conversation and want to offer a meaningful response. Sometimes, a few seconds of silence can convey professionalism and depth more effectively than an immediate reply that lacks careful consideration. Taking a moment before responding also helps you listen more attentively to what the other person is sharing. By pausing, you're not only focusing on what was said, but also allowing yourself the opportunity to process the information, which leads to more reasonable and comprehensive responses. This enhances the quality of the conversation and fosters mutual respect in communication. So let's remember that incorporating a brief pause before responding isn't just a technique, it's a way to show deeper engagement, thoughtfulness, and respect in every conversation we have. Effective communication is not an innate talent, but rather a skill that can be cultivated and developed. Each one of us has the opportunity to become a better communicator, and that journey begins by understanding the key elements of communication. Communication is not just about using words. It also encompasses how we convey emotions and messages through tone, body language, and interaction. We've learned how to harmonize our words, tone, and body language to deliver messages that are powerful and sincere. This allows us to create deeper connections with those around us, whether in our personal lives or at work. Another crucial aspect of communication is balance and dialogue. When we learn to listen and speak in balance, we build mutual respect and create space for all perspectives to be heard. This is especially important when we face tense conversations or critical decisions, where understanding each other is key to finding positive and reasonable solutions. Active listening is a skill we cannot overlook. Listening is not simply about hearing words, it's about understanding the emotions and meaning behind what the other person is trying to convey. We have learned to listen not just with our ears, but with our hearts, to truly understand and empathize with others, and then respond thoughtfully and accurately. The ability to paraphrase and pause before responding also makes us more skillful communicators. When we paraphrase someone's thoughts, it not only helps to confirm our understanding, but also shows that we are genuinely listening and care about what they have to say. A brief pause before responding gives us time to reflect, allowing us to offer smarter and more measured replies. Now, after exploring each component of the art of effective communication, I want to emphasize that communication is a skill that can be improved day by day. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice and refine your communication abilities. Instead of just speaking, start by truly listening. Instead of simply reacting, learn how to respond in a thoughtful and meaningful way. I encourage you to apply the skills we've discussed today to your daily conversations. You'll notice that the quality of your relationships will improve significantly when you genuinely listen to and understand others while conveying your own message with sincerity and clarity. Before concluding today's talk, I'd like to share a short story about an extraordinary leader who was admired not only for his talents, but also for his exceptional ability to communicate and listen. He always took the time to hear out his colleagues and employees, and no matter how busy he was, he would pause briefly before responding, ensuring that his reply was both genuine and valuable. This simple practice helped him build a loyal and cohesive team, leading to remarkable achievements in his career. This story shows that effective communication is not just about technique, but about heart, sincerity, and empathy. I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. How will you start changing the way you communicate from today? What can you do right now to become a better, more effective communicator and build stronger, more meaningful relationships? I encourage you to start with the smallest steps, and soon you will see the profound impact it can have.